You know, a lot of people ask me what is the best Bluetooth audio experience for under $100. It's a very popular question, but usually it looks something like this guy, a TWS IEM. But what if I told you I have found a pair of headphones that not only gives you the convenience of Bluetooth, but also gives you surprisingly good sound and a couple of features that you don't find on any true wireless earbud in this price category, and not even most headphones have it. Well, you might be intrigued. You might want to watch that video. Heck, you might even want to subscribe. Who knows? Or you might not believe me. Well, that's why I had to make this video about this headphone. The trick now is to tell you about this before the rain comes in. Let's take a walk. Now, the JBL Tune 710BC is supposedly an over-the-ear headphone, but the ear cups are actually a bit small, and therefore, if you've got even medium-sized ears like me, it's not going to go around your ear, which makes it a little bit uncomfortable. That, plus the clamp force when you first put this on, it can be a little grueling. However, after just a few minutes of usage, I found that it does get a lot more comfortable, plus you can stretch that headband out no problem. Now, while I do wish that the foam on the headband was a little more generous, credit where credit is due, the ear cups and the headband are a lot more customizable than many other headphones, even more expensive ones. For example, you can, of course, adjust the headphone. There's a nice little ratcheting mechanism, but the ear cups themselves swivel both in and out and forwards and backwards, which is more than I can say for some more expensive audiophile headphones out there even. Now, everything you really need is on your right ear cup. You've got your USB-C charging point, you've got a little battery level indicator, you've got your power button, your auxiliary in, which we'll talk about in a second, and you've got your volume buttons and a multifunction button. Now, if the controls seem sparse, I assure you they are not, because every button does more than one thing. For example, the volume up and down will also skip tracks and go to the previous track if you long press them. The multifunction button will play and pause your music, or will take or cut your call. It'll also mute your microphone, which is something that seems trivial, but it's not a feature I find in a lot of true wireless earbuds, nor do I find it in a lot of headphones, but it's something that is supremely important when you're on that Zoom call with your boss and you're working from home and you quickly need to mute everything. This is going to come in handy. But what's really impressive is that power button. Not just because it has the power to turn things on. That's what she never said. No, it's because double tapping the power button will actually switch devices. Because yes, that's right. This little headphone, which works only on Bluetooth 5.0, which has no active noise cancellation, no on-ear detection, nothing, has Multipoint for up to 2 devices. And while testing with my Samsung phone and my Apple MacBook Pro, worked seamlessly. It really, really did. Now, how's that for a feature set for under $80? Now, for the record, pairing was almost seamless. There's no fast pair, but it does in fact pair pretty fast. I have no issues with that. And since it's quite windy and quite noisy here, I thought I might give you a taste of the microphones. Now, battery life wise, it stated that it'll go up to 50 hours on a single charge. I haven't verified the full 50 hours, but it does last quite long. Oh my God, it's starting to rain. We're going to have to go in. Let's make our way in. If you've run out of juice though, it takes you a full 2 hours to recharge the battery. But if you need to quickly get out and you have absolutely no juice, then a quick 5-minute charge will give you 3 hours of playtime. 3 hours of all of this with just 5 minutes of charge? I'll take that any day. But I guess the real question now is, how does it actually sound? Okay, 2 things. One, you can use it with the auxiliary cable, though in a move that will flummox even the most irrational mortal man. It uses a 2.5mm jack instead of a standard 3.5mm jack. And is it just me, or is there always that one product engineer in every company that just says, let's just change this and frustrate the heck out of the whole world? If you are that product engineer, you know what you've done. you know. If you're not that product engineer and if you're frustrated like me, then just take it out on that subscribe button. Just smash it. You'll feel better. I know I'll feel better. Thank you. But seriously though, when it's in wired mode, it doesn't sound the best. But I have noticed that it sounds significantly better than a lot of other Bluetooth earbuds seem to without their digital signal processing on. And even if you wanted it, you couldn't turn these on. These don't turn on when the aux cable is in. Now, when it's in Bluetooth, their digital signal processing does kick in, and I can promise you it sounds way better. Basically, use this in wireless mode, do not use it in wired mode. If you need to, it's not terrible, but it is way better in wireless mode. So then how does it sound? First things first, it is definitely a little bass boosted, but not to the point where it's obliterating everything else. Now that bass boost does seem to have a little dip around the 80 to 100 Hertz region where a lot of the bass thump occurs. So some of that thump that you should hear in a song seems a little bit subdued and a little bit cheap feeling. Overall though, it is astonishingly good at bass because it is well extended, like it digs down really deep, really low frequencies come out really well, and it sounds really transparent. Nice texture, good resolution in the bass. It's something that I don't associate with cheap headphones at all. Now some of that bass does bleed into the mids, so male vocals, any lower frequency vocals, heavier guitars, all of that will sound a little bit warm, or depending on your preference, you could call it a little bit muddy. Not so much that it destroys the mids in terms of resolution. It adds a little flavor, which I certainly don't mind, but to some people it might seem a little bit muddy. If you want to get rid of that, if you have an equalization app, just dip everything between sort of 100 and 400 kilohertz down by a couple of dB, and that sorts that out. And I can see it started raining, but I'm going to soldier on because that's the kind of YouTube channel you've come to watch. No, it's not. I was kidding. I'm just definitely not that kind of YouTube channel. I'm just going to sit here where it's nice and dry, and I'm going to talk about that stuff anyway, and hopefully the soothing sounds of the rain only add to the ambience. Now, when it comes to the treble extension, I have noticed that it's actually surprisingly nice. It's well extended, although it is a bit sharp in some areas. You won't notice this except on some specific music tracks, but it never gets harsh, never gets sibilant. It just gets a little bit sharp on certain female vocals. Not a huge deal. Honestly, it is a very good tonal balance, and although it might not seem like it when you compare it with something like a wired IEM in the same price point, that's only because wired IEMs in that price point have become so good. For a headphone at this price to be tuned this well is very rare, but it's not all perfect. What you give up though is things like staging and imaging. When you listen to any piece of music, it generally sounds quite congested, and in your head it's not a wide, spacious soundstage, and therefore even imaging, the ability to pinpoint where each instrument is coming from, is not spectacular. It's all kind of in your head, and you can actually get better results from wired IEMs, even some wireless IEMs if I'm being honest. So I guess what I'm saying is what we have here is a headphone that I think is pretty well built for its price. A headphone that has all the convenience of Bluetooth and a surprising little feature set with that ability to mute yourself and multipoint, even though it doesn't have ANC and all the other accoutrements that come with more expensive headphones. I feel like the feature set is well thought out for the price and is actually quite useful. I do like the way the controls are laid out, and I love the fact that the tonal balance is so gosh darn good. And the fact that all of that can be had for $80 is a very, very good value proposition in my mind. But I do wonder how it would go up against something like the Edifier 820NB, which is the same price point, also a Bluetooth headset, but I believe also has ANC. To find out, you can just click over here. Or if you want to see that time where I went to the FIFA World Cup and tested a whole bunch of IEMs in the stadium, click over here, and I'll see you in that video. Till next time, stay happy, stay peaceful, stay colorful. Namaste.